This is Michael Tellinger, founder of the UBUNTU Party, and if you've been following our campaign towards these elections, you would have noticed that we keep talking about the People's Bank and that the People's Bank can solve all our problems. And maybe there are some people who don't quite understand what this is all about and how this People's Bank can be this miracle cure. Well, it really is very simple. Remember that at the moment, we are completely enslaved to a private corporation that has the exclusive right to print and create our money and issue the money for the people in South Africa. All we need to do is remove that right and give it to ourselves. Give that right that now belongs to somebody else to ourselves, the people, through a government that we appoint as the servant of the people. Yeah, most people work like slaves day in, day out, week in, week out, month after month, year after year, hoping that something will change, that their lives will improve. But our lives will never improve as long as we have the current financial system, banking system, and those people and these groups of banks that control the supply of our money. They are a law unto themselves. They operate above the law. Remember that the laws that uphold the rights of these banking corporations hold the rights of these corporations higher than the rights of living, breathing human beings. You and I have less or fewer rights in the courts of South Africa than banking institutions. And I know this because I spent 3.5 years in the Supreme Court of Johannesburg trying to show that the banks in South Africa are fraudulent and criminal organizations that exploit the people of South Africa. So, once we control the printing and the creation of money for our country and the people of South Africa, that money will always be available through the People's Bank for everything that we want to do as the people of our own country. And the people of South Africa, through all their communities, every single community, every sector of our society, will always have this money available that is issued by the People's Bank for everything we need to do. Whether it's fixing of the roads, fixing of the schools, the hospital, developing new technology, developing alternative energy so that we can all give our communities and towns and cities a free alternative energy supply. All of these things are totally possible. All we have to do is take back the right to print the money and issue and supply our own money. So, here are the things we're going to do. We're going to create a People's Bank that issues money for the people, by the people, and in this case, this money will be tax-free and interest-free because we don't have to pay interest or taxes to some foreign corporation that issues our money. Secondly, we're going to make sure that this money is utilized by every community, and every community has access to this money for everything they need to do. So these people's banks that will spring up all over South Africa will allow all the communities around our country to create works and public works and start fixing their own communities where it's been completely left to ruin. So jobs will be available for everything everywhere. So why do we know so much about the banking industry and how banks work? Well, first of all, because we've done our research for many, many years. We've studied and researched this, and we've spent 3.5 years in the Supreme Court of Johannesburg arguing against the banks and then taking it up to the Constitutional Court and learning a great deal about how banks work, what they do, how they create money. But the ace up our sleeve actually is Stephen Goodson, who is a former director of the South African Reserve Bank and still a shareholder today of the South African Reserve Bank. Stephen Goodson knows exactly how the banking system works, the history of the banking system, how money was introduced to South Africa in 1652. Stephen Goodson is our advisor and the ace up our sleeve of the UBUNTU Party. This is why we can make such outlandish statements that some people think are just crazy. They're not crazy. They're simply the fact that most people were not aware of.